of leadership. Say it with me. The spirit of leadership. One more time. The spirit of leadership. I want to begin today with what I call the introduction to the spirit of leadership. I want to give you some simple, powerful quotes or principles that I'd like for you to capture. Number one, it's not what you are that holds you back. It's what you think you are not. I repeat, it's not what you are that holds you back. It's what you think that you are not. That's what holds you back. Number two, you cannot always control circumstances, but you can always control your own thoughts. You cannot always control circumstances, but you can always control your own thoughts. Number three, nothing changes until your mind changes. Nothing changes until your mind changes. 4, information does not bring transformation. Conversion does. Information does not bring transformation. Conversion does. Just want to comment on this one for a brief moment. How many of you have said, this person sitting in front of me have been here for the last 15 years, hearing all this great teaching, and still got bad ways? You said that. I know you did. Or you might have said, the person sitting 5 seats from me have been coming here for the last 12 years and hearing all of this wonderful, quality, faith-filled, positive teaching and still haven't changed. Still the same person, still the same attitude, still the same problems, facing the same sins, struggling with the same difficulty. I mean, haven't they learned anything? Well, the answer is in the statement. Let's read it together again. Information does not bring transformation. Conversion does. Number 5, the teaching of the word brings revelation. To transfer, but the transfer of the Spirit brings transformation. Repeat that. The teaching of the word brings revelation, but the transfer of the Spirit of that word brings transformation. Number 6, you know this one. As a man thinks in his heart, that's the man. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Number 7, I like this one. The most difficult project in the world is the reconstruction of a human mind. The most difficult project in the world is the reconstruction of a human mind. It is easier to go to Mars than to change the mind of a human. Number 8, you are the sum total of all you have been conditioned to think. Did you know that miracles do not change the mind? Please write that down. Put it in your notes. Miracles do not change people. Some of you saying, well, I ain't going to move until God show me a sign. The sign ain't going to move you. How many times you put a fleece outside your door and God wet it and you still doing what you do? How many times you made a swear on your resolution and you still ain't done what you told God you was going to do? Who in this house and watching this program and driving down the road listening to this tape have experienced more miracles than the children of Israel? None of us. Anybody ever had food fall from the sky? For 40 years? You ain't got to go work, just food. Wake up in the morning, food. And when you complain, he changed the menu. That's a miracle, isn't it? Anybody here ever was thirsty and didn't have to go to the water corporation to pay any bills? You got free water from a rock every day? Talk to me. That's a miracle. Anybody here ever had a suit of clothes that never wore out for 40 years? Is that a miracle? Anybody here ever had a pair of shoes that did not wear out for 40 years? The Bible says their shoe didn't wear out. Lord of mercy, I want to know what kind of style that was and who was that maker. Is that a miracle? Yes. Anybody ever been sick and instead of going to the hospital and paying the doctor $40 for the first visit? No, you were sick and you went and looked at a brazen serpent on a pole. I'm talking about free health care. Instant healing just to look at the stake. All the stuff just left you. You were healed instantly. I mean, that is a miracle. None of us had those kind of miracles. Anybody ever seen a pillar of cloud by night telling you what corner to go through? Or a cloud by day that tells you what curve to and bend to avoid? No, we've never had that kind of guidance, and yet these people had it for 40 years. And let's read what people who saw miracles thought. Verse 17. When Pharaoh let the people go, everybody got it? Exodus 13. When Pharaoh let the people go, you ain't going to believe what you read. Watch this. God did not lead them on the road through the Philistine country, even though that was shorter. Underline that. Now, my wife and I went to Egypt some years ago, and we were amazed. We traveled from Israel to Egypt. And we got there so quickly, I thought they went in another place. And then I realized we flew over the Sinai Desert, and we landed in Cairo. And when it was up in the air, you could see Israel and you could see Egypt at the same time. And I said, wait a minute. 40 years, and I found out from my guide that the distance between Egypt and Israel is a 35-day walk. 1 month. Now God took them from Egypt, and the place he was to take them, called Canaan, land of promise, milk and honey, is 30 days walk. They're supposed to be there in a month. It took them 40 years and they still didn't make it. That's a long walk to nowhere. Now, I want you to watch this statement. The Bible says when God delivered them out of Egypt, he did not lead them on the road through the Philistine country, even though that was shorter. He could have gotten them there in 1 month. Watch the problem. Because God said, God's thinking now, if they face war, they might change their, what's the word? Minds. God bound them in the mind already. He said, these people are delivered from oppression, but I got to deal with this mind they got. If they face war, they will change their minds. And look what he says, and return to Egypt. Could you imagine that the mind is more powerful than a promise? Wow. No matter what God promised you, if your mind can't handle it, you won't get it. Now that's tough revelation. As big as his promises are, they depend on your attitude. This is revelation to me. So all that prayer you praying, you got to make sure your attitude is ready for the answer. Your mentality determines the fulfillment of God's promise for your life. How you think determines whether you receive what God told you is yours. Therefore, I think what God spoke to us today prophetically must be heard by everybody again. I have prepared a table for you, but I want you to prepare for the table. My point is this: they refused to change their minds. Write this down. They were victims of mental and historical conditioning. They were victims. That's the problem, Hal. They were victims of mental and historical conditioning. I'm speaking in the 21st century right now. We have become victims. You know, a victim is somebody who can't help what they're doing. Of historical conditioning. It's a history of conditioning. God obviously believes that it is possible to change people's minds after they have been under oppression for 400 years. God believes it is possible to change people's minds. If he didn't believe it, he wouldn't have attempted it. The people failed to change their minds, even though God believed they could. The people failed.